At Biblins Campsite, people come and go all the time, and so do our wardens. Some wardens have time to take it easy, whilst others are as busy as a mole in an empty field. The wardens are all different, but every Biblins warden has a story to tell, and all of them start their day with a cup of tea. What do you think Sam has written in the warden's diary today? Although it was currently quiet and empty, today was going to be a busy day at Biblins Campsite. Not only were there the usual comings and goings of the campers, but there would also be volunteers from the Woodcraft Folk and beyond on the site to help out with maintenance. The day started when Chris arrived, towing a large blue sofa on a flatbed trailer. Chris stumped over to the cabin to speak to Sam, who was wardening that day. "Anyone else here yet?" he asked. "We've been given another sofa for the big marquee in Camp Kudu, but we need a few of us to unload it." "Not yet. You're the first one to arrive," Sam replied. "Oh, then we'll have to wait," said Chris, pulling a list out of his pocket. "This is the plan for today. Can you let people know as they arrive? I'm going down to pitch 1 to start putting up those new pitch markers. Send a couple of volunteers my way, and then I think painting is the next most urgent thing if we get a good crowd." Sam took the list with a cheery "no problem" before Chris squeezed back into his little car and drove off, with the large blue sofa bumping along behind. As more volunteers arrived, Sam handed out paintbrushes and other tools and directed the volunteers off to their various tasks. Sam stayed by the cabin, sweeping off some muddy ground sheets, when he saw Izzy arrive back. "Is there another tin of white paint about? There's 4 of us, and it's getting used up pretty quick." Regardless of colour, Sam hadn't seen any paint for several days. "Sorry, I haven't seen any. You could ask Chris," he called back, pointing towards the west end of the site. "Actually, can you take Chris a cup of tea? He set off before I could fix one for him." Chris was using his very long spirit level to check that the new post was perfectly straight when Izzy arrived carrying a cup of tea. "Sam sent me down with this. He said you didn't get one earlier. Also, we're nearly out of white paint. Is there any more?" Chris took a glug of tea. "I'm nearly done here," he said. "I'll give you a lift to the container. You can grab the paint and I'll get the generator fixed." Sam waved as Chris and Izzy drove past and called out, "There's a group at the canoe launch. You need a couple more posts." "No problem. I'll get them on the way back," Chris replied. For much of the rest of the day, Sam watched Chris drive in one direction with a load of fence posts, and then the other way with a collection of tools, each time still with the sofa following behind on its trailer. It was late afternoon when Jake, who'd been with the team putting up the posts, arrived at the cabin. "We're pretty much done," he said, panting a little. "Do you know where Chris is? He wanted to check them." "Last I saw, he was up at the container servicing the generator. You can't miss him, he's still got that sofa tied to the trailer." In fact, Jake found Chris easily because he could be guided by the chugging of the generator. Chris was standing next to it looking quietly satisfied and still packing away a few tools. "We're done with the marker posts," Jake informed Chris. "I know you'd like to give them a check before we make our way back." Chris placed his spirit level of office onto the trailer and set off towards the new posts. After carefully checking each one, Chris made sure he offered the volunteers a lift back. "Finally, enough people to lift this sofa," he thought to himself. Sam was rather surprised to see the trailer sofa still firmly lashed down, but now full of volunteers, making its way slowly and carefully towards the marquee. Knowing how hard everybody, especially Chris, had been working, Sam went to put the kettle on whilst the team finally manoeuvred the sofa into the marquee. The Warden's Diary is a work of fiction, and any resemblance to persons living or dead is purely because our comrades, especially ones like Chris, are such a fertile source of ideas and inspiration. Biblins is a campsite near Simmons Yett in the Wye Valley that takes bookings exclusively from organised youth groups and schools. The site will shortly close for the winter, but we hope to see as many of you as possible in 2022. Check out the links below for more information. And if you would like to get in touch or have more ideas for the Warden's Diary, then look us up on social media. And don't forget to click that subscribe button for more tales from the Warden's diary.